A lot of WWE stars want to quit WWE, and I'm not talking about developmental talent down in NXT or those guys that you could call past their prime. I'm talking about the boys and girls that are on the main roster and have decided they don't want to put up with WWE's crap no more. At least that's one way you can look at it. Obviously, unless you are that person, you don't know what their feelings and thoughts are. Unless you work for some news sites, I know who you are. You like to make stuff up. I'm only kidding. There are plenty of reasons for all of this though, so as a new name joins this list, we slowly take our hand, we move it upwards, and then we pull it towards our head and we say, WWE stars want to quit the WWE. Why? Here's why. The list to kick things off, as well as the newly joined Luke Harper, there is also the likes of Ty Dillinger, Sasha Banks, The Revival, Dean Ambrose, Gallows and Anderson, apparently, and of course there were all those rumours a few months ago that Maria and Mike Kanellis also wanted to get out of House WWE. I bet EC3 would like to walk out the door right now if he could, although saying that, WWE would probably be happy to push him out of said door, given how he gets treated on TV every week. And again, while we are here, if someone could please explain to me what's happened to Ethan Carter III, I would appreciate it. I did enjoy the theory that maybe Vince McMahon doesn't like him because his name, when you break it down, is Ethan Carter III. And McMahon, they say, doesn't like Junior, because obviously Vince McMahon's real name is Vince McMahon Jr., but he gets rid of that because he thinks it's like, I don't know, disparaging to a human being or something, and therefore, technically, it would be Ethan Carter Jr. And maybe that's why Braun Strowman absolutely killed him on Raw a few days ago. It's such a surreal environment if you are a long-time WWE fan like myself, because this was never the way. It never used to go down like this. Let me tell you how it did used to go. You get through WrestleMania and you'd enter the post-WrestleMania lull, and that's when WWE would go about their cost-cutting, and that included cutting talent. And while all that was going on, a lot of wrestlers were quaking in their boots because they didn't want to go anywhere. Fast forward to 2019, and if somebody is fed up with their booking on either Raw or SmackDown, they just think to themselves, I don't need this shiz, man. I'm going to go find something else to do. On top of that is the way they actually do this. Now, really, we don't know how many WWE superstars are unhappy right now, because not everybody is going to go public with that information. They may think that's a bad idea, because if you do want to get released and you rock the apple cart too much, WWE may go into vindictive mode and say, we don't enjoy that he took our fruit and threw it on the floor, therefore we're going to make them sit out their entire contract, even though we won't use them on our television shows. But even with that, we still do have lots of forward-facing examples of wrestlers being like, nah, screw that, I'm not only going to ask for my release, but then I'm going to go on Twitter, it's usually Twitter, and tell everyone, hey ho guys, really sorry, I asked for my release. Ty Dillinger tweeted out that he wanted to go, and a couple of weeks later, he was gone, and Luke Harper has just done the same thing. Now, we don't know what's going to happen with Luke Harper right now, because as I say these words, we're only in the initial aftermath, but I would bet, given how little he has been used, Luke Harper will probably go. And that's why I just want to say this quickly. If you are out there, you're a wrestling company or wrestling promotion, like AEW for example, and you do want to hire Luke Harper, please, for the love of everything, push him like he needs to be pushed. He is the most underrated guy that WWE has/had, depending on his current contract status. And that doesn't even have to be as a tag team guy either. You remember WrestleMania 33 when we had Bray Wyatt and Randy Orton going after the world title, for some reason complete with overhead projector maggots and semen on the damn aisle as Randy Orton walked down. Luke Harper should have been in that match. He was part of the feud right up until we got to the day, and then someone shot that idea in the head, and I can't even remember what Luke Harper did. He should have been in it. He should have been in it. He didn't have to win the title, but it would have made that whole match a hell of a lot better. Dean Ambrose was quite the special case too, because nobody at first really knew what was going on. News sites that we talked about earlier started to hint that Ambrose may have asked for his release, and before it got too out of control, WWE on their own website went, yeah, he did. We then got into the whole, or maybe it's a work chat, but as I stand here right now, in April 2019, I don't think there's two ways about it. Dean Ambrose is absolutely leaving the company, and if he's not, they have really wasted everybody's time. And by the way, The other murmurings were that WWE offered him $1 million, or maybe even a little bit more. They said it was a 7-figure contract to stay, and that would just be his base salary. But once again, Dean Ambrose was like, it's not about the money, man. I need to be creatively fulfilled, or maybe he just needs a damn break. Sasha Banks and the Revival are a little bit different. More hints publicly than actually making huge statements. There's still enough evidence out there for you to take on and go, I don't think they're the happiest cats in the land. I mean, again, we thought, or at least we think, that Dash and Dawson actually went to Vince McMahon after an episode of Raw and said, listen, Vinny man, we don't want to be here anymore. We would appreciate it if you let us leave. It got denied, and the end result of that was a run with the Raw Tag Team Championships, which ended at WrestleMania 35 when they lost them to Zack Ryder and Kurt Hawkins. Now, I love Hawkins and Ryder, especially Hawkins. He's my boy, but I don't think that was done to try and make the Revival happy. And in that sense, especially if they do have to see out the contracts, which I think ends sometime in 2020, that didn't go to plan and maybe wasn't the best idea if you're Dash and Dawson and you were hoping that WWE was going to start focusing on the tag team division. I don't think they are. The same goes for Sasha. The latest in that merry-go-round is that she'd had enough after at WrestleMania 35 on the day of the show. She was told that one, her and Bayley are no longer going to be a tag team because they're going to draft Bayley to SmackDown in a week or so. And two, they're losing those brand new women's tag team titles to the Iconics. That didn't sit well with Sasha because after weeks of her and Bayley saying that they were going to go out there to NXT, Raw and SmackDown and make these titles mean something, that opportunity was utterly stolen away. So she thought to herself, well, if that's the kind of people I'm dealing with, maybe I will remove myself from this situation too. And as of right now, as I'm talking, all we know is that she's on hiatus trying to make up her mind. And if you need to know what that means, it means she's either going to stay and be happy, or she's going to go probably to All Elite Wrestling. And we mentioned AEW, and naturally that's a big reason that these performers are feeling more confident about pushing back against the machine. I mean, if you do go out there into the big scary world, you've got New Japan Pro Wrestling who are expanding, so they need as many bodies as possible. All Elite Wrestling, they're trying to build up a roster. If you have the right kind of star power from WWE, I bet that ticks loads of boxes. But also the indie scene continues to thrive, even MLW. You seen MLW? MLW is all right. All of this is actively convincing WWE talent that if they're not happy, they shouldn't just hang around and put up with it. If you can tell me that that's not competition, then I don't think you understand what competition is. No matter what happens with AEW, they have already fired the first shot across WWE's bow, and the result was this. Luke Harper wants to go, Sasha Banks wants to go, the Revival want to go. And there is another point to this as well, although coming at it from a different line of thinking, because you know who else wants to quit the WWE? The fans. The Raw and SmackDown ratings for both the post-WrestleMania show and the Superstar Shakeup were down roughly around 1 million people, and that's because wrestling fans are either going elsewhere to get their wrestling fix or just taking a break altogether, like Dean Ambrose is going to do maybe. There's no obligation to stay tuned in as constant continuity issues and the ongoing death of long-term storytelling basically tell you can go away now, come back in a few weeks, and in around about 7 days, you'll know exactly what's going on. And if you do want to stay up to date on the internet or online until then, get your information in bite-sized chunks, well, you can do that too, and you're still not missing out that much. And is it really going to be hard to catch up even if you don't do that? Not really. Most narratives now exist in little bubbles or start and end in the same episode of Raw. So why do you have to keep coming back? You don't. Just pick one, and all of a sudden you'll be where everybody else has, even though they've been watching week in, week out. After that, you probably give up again. Such is the way of a WWE fan in 2019. So both these individuals and the wrestlers themselves are slowly looking at the likes of AEW of New Japan just because they want to find something that's more creatively satisfying than what's going on under Vince McMahon's watch. And I tell you what else is going away, brand loyalty, because you don't really get that back when you watch WWE now, do you? Do you ever feel comfortable that a storyline is going to be followed up on? I mean, let's take Mojo Rawley. If you're really invested in that, you tune into Raw every week and you have no idea if he's going to be on the show. And then looking at it again from both sides of the angle, Mojo Rawley, he probably has no idea if he's going to be on the show too. He just turns up at an arena, thinks, well, I hope I'm doing something with mirrors this evening. Otherwise, I don't understand what the plan is. And that's when you start to look at other opportunities or other forms of entertainment, because otherwise, eventually, if you keep doing the same thing, everybody involved is just wasting their time. And on this note, let's ask the question, why don't we get Mojo Rawley every week? Because the only answer I can come up with is that those in charge and those writing all the stories or those approving the stories are actually forgetting that they have something with it. I mean, what is he meant to do about that? Does someone even go and say, oh, sorry, Mojo, we can't fit you onto Raw this evening, because if not, his morale has absolutely got to be in the toilet. Apprehension levels must be through the roof as you're trying to figure out what exactly you're doing. I mean, it's a bit like wrestler lottery, and the writer comes up and goes, oh, sorry, Mojo, we spun that big wheel, but your ball with your face on it didn't come out, and therefore you don't get to be on TV this evening. I mean, that would make more sense. That would actually make more sense than just, I don't know, it just wasn't there. And while it is fun for us, the fans, to see all these moving parts because it does make for good news headlines, it also underlines an epidemic that's going on in WWE right now. Because always remember this, happy employees do not want to leave. Perception-wise, that doesn't look great either, because you want your staff to be full of motivation and full of vigor, and while it doesn't hurt the stock, and the stock is obviously the most precious thing there is when it comes to a business model, it doesn't affect that just yet. You never know what could be down the line. It's like the Raw audience. 3 hours at first wasn't so bad, but that was 7 years ago, and as we've ticked through all of these 12 months, eventually wrestling fans have said, I've changed my mind. 180 minutes is way too long for me to stay invested in a wrestling show. So instead, I'm going to pick up my controller, I'm going to point it at my TV screen, and I'm going to turn it off. Or, worse still, I'm going to forget that Raw even goes live on a Monday night, because I just don't care anymore. You can't escape a bad idea. It's a bit like a shark. It will hunt you down and rip your head off and pull out your heart with its teeth, or in this case, absolutely tank your television rating. Now, don't forget to leave a comment below and let us know what you think about all of this. Like, share, and subscribe. Head over to whatculture.com, read yourself some articles, follow What Culture on Twitter, What Culture WWE, and watch more videos here on What Culture Wrestling. My name is Simon from What Culture. Thank you very much for watching, and I tell you this, no matter when this video does go live, I bet within the next 6 months, at least 5 other people come out and say, I've asked for my release from WWE, because I don't think we're about to end all of this. I think it's the start of something, or in the midst of it, but the final point, that is miles down the road. And yeah, I know AEW could die within a year of being a thing. We don't know. At the moment, everyone's talking TV deals, and there's rumors this and there's rumors there, but the wave has already started, and that wave doesn't finish until everybody calms back down again. And I don't think that's going to happen for a very long time. Fun for us, hopefully good for WWE, because they'll light a fire under their ass, and they'll get really creative and really fun. We'll have to wait and see. A lot of fun in there. Fun for us, fun for WWE. That's all I want. Fun. #fun.